If it was 12 o'clock, we'd be finished. Good morning, everybody. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to healthylife.tv. We're just having a bit of a laugh here. So we were chatting for about a quarter of an hour beforehand, making tea and things like that. So today's episode. Anyway, before I do that, I'm Paul Bursey. My co-presenter is.
I'm Warren Connolly. Nice to have you here with us. I'm coming to you from Hungary.
Why'd you have to think about that? It'd be different if you was an international jet setter and you couldn't remember what country you were in. But,
okay. No, in my mind, I'm an international jet setter. In reality, I'm
like to be an international jet setter. Again. Anyway, here's today's episode. What really makes you fat? Now, we'll get into that in a minute. But how's your week going, Warren?
It's going fat, thanks.
Going fat. Now, you had a bad fall the other day, so you're only just getting back into training, aren't you? So.
Yeah, I only just had my first workout today. So, yeah, it's amazing. Hey, I'm 48 years young. I had a fairly bad fall. I actually thought I'd broken my elbow. So on here you can see I've had a big cut, nice big gash all the way down to my elbow. Got caught on the edge of a stair. On the other side, I've got a couple of grazes and cuts and stuff. But I thought I'd broken my elbow because that's how hard I hit it. And that was on Sunday afternoon. You know, I've just covered up the cut. I cleaned it up. I covered it up. You know, I've put a plaster over it, and I've just left it. So just kept it clean. And it's now Wednesday, and it's feeling really good. It's feeling this for the first day and a half. I could barely move my arm because of the pulling, you know, that cut. And now it's amazing. It feels good to know that you're healthy and fit, and my immune system is very strong. It's good to know that.
Yeah, same as me. Me.
Yeah.
And you're 48, and I'm not. So I'm not going to tell you my age, but the most famous road in America.
Route 66.
Anyway, so
I mentioned that because I know that most guys at the age of 48, if they had the fall that I had, all right, they wouldn't be moving their arm around after 2-3 days.
No, that's right.
You know, and getting back into their training and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a testament to, you know, the way you and I look after ourselves and our health.
Well, it's only less than 18 months ago that I fell headfirst out of the bath. I don't think it made any difference.
I would never have said so.
You know, when you step on the slopey bit. Anyway, I'm still here. I'm still functioning quite well. So we're going to deal with what really makes you fat. Now, what causes obesity? I'm just throwing a question out there. Excessive calories or the wrong carbohydrates? I don't want an answer from anyone at the moment. I just want you to think about it. Which is more important? Well, the more important cause of obesity? You know, is it eating too much? Is it eating too many calories? Is it not exercising? Is it eating the wrong kinds of food, especially easily digested carbohydrates? Why do so many of us get fat? Now, I'm adding myself in that. Not that I've ever got fat, but I've done it like you, Warren. I've got a metabolism that burns fast, so I don't think I'd ever, unless I really, really worked at it, I would never get, you know, big. So, but the key, I think, is that we're all unique. We're all different. Our body reacts different to food and other environmental factors, things like that. And so I'll talk about how I would deal with someone who was overweight a bit later. But let's carry on talking about obesity. What do you think the percentage of the world is obese?
From a global perspective,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Bear in mind, it's 7 billion on the planet, let's say, maybe 8 by now.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how they even measure that, because if you take just China and India alone, how many of those people are accessible for monitoring, and for
Yeah.
information, for data and stuff? Very few of them
But
are.
do you, in the Eastern cultures and that, do you really see many fat people?
Not typically. No, you do obviously, but you're not typically in Eastern cultures.
Okay.
No,
Well,
I mean, if
let's
you
just,
look,
we'll keep it. I'll tell you what, we'll keep it to the UK, America, and
mhm.
Australia, because they're
So
the three worst.
the Western world, yeah.
The Western world, and obviously one of our annexes. I don't mean that. I love Australia. But I think you know where that's coming from. So let's just talk about those. It's worldwide. It's 500 million people that are obese.
Wow.
They don't mention overweight. They mention obese. Okay, that is a worrying statistic. Not only for the people personally, but also for the healthcare systems.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's awful. Now, some people care, some people don't. And you see these programs on television sometimes when I bother to watch it, where they have people that are unbelievable weight.
Yeah.
I mean, full marks to them. I mean, I don't know, they're huge.
And that takes a lot of dedication to get to that as well, eh?
Yeah, it
This is
does.
yeah,
You're
but
right. You're right.
this is, people don't realize that it takes dedication to get to that size. Yeah.
So why do so many of us get fat? I mean, maybe the answer appears obvious. I don't know, but is it? I mean, the fundamental cause of obesity and overweight is, well, the World Health Organization say, is an energy imbalance between calories consumed and calories expended. Now, do you think it's as simple as that?
Not at all. Not at all. Because, yeah, for example, I could be eating copious amounts of calories in terms of, like, say, rice or potatoes, vegetables, fruits, proteins. I can be eating salads and that, but loads of calories involved, and I may get fat if I'm not careful. If I'm not careful with my training and all that kind of stuff. But there's a very big difference when somebody's consuming calories that are coming from, like you mentioned, empty sources of calories.
Yeah.
Calories that have absolutely no nutritional value for the body. And this is where the simplicity gets thrown out the window, because it's not simple anymore when that's the case. So yeah.
I think we thought, experts and us, we thought it was simple, but it's not. I mean, you can put it simply. And it wouldn't be correct, and that is, we either eat too much or we are too sedentary. We don't run, we don't walk. But they're just parts of it. It's a huge jigsaw as far as I see it, you know? So,
Well, that World Health Organization have put it simply, in the way that they presented it to the general population, and an imbalance between calories in versus calories out, but they don't stipulate what calories.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it used to be, by any logic and any excuse, that calories, whether they're from proteins, carbohydrates, or fats, the macronutrients, as we call them, the three main components. But it's very easy to pack the pounds these days, and that's what we're up against. It's yes. Have you got exercise? Absolutely, but you do that for many reasons. But losing weight isn't necessarily one of them, right? The whole idea of exercise, as I see it, is to help the body, the synergistic motion of the body. It's about helping the heart pump,
Mm-hmm.
and you need some kind of exercise. Now, they suggest 5 or 6 days, 30 minutes a session or whatever. But I think that the most important thing is you think exercise.
Mm-hmm.
this one part, this one small part. You think exercise, which means you're going to do something, you know. And but if you were to work on 5 or 6 days a week for 30 minutes walking, you wouldn't be far wrong. You
No,
see,
you wouldn't be.
we mentioned it before. You see loads of people running that shouldn't be running.
Yeah.
And the reason they shouldn't be running is A, they're not used to it. All right.
Well, they're not used to moving. They're not used to moving.
Body
let
likes
alone
you
running.
to ease into things.
Yeah.
You eased into the fat one bite at a time.
Yeah.
So why are you not easing into the exercise one bite at a time? You know,
Mhm.
you see people who are obviously overweight or obese going out running. That is so bad for the body because you've got all this massive weight every step of the way going bang, bang, bang. Added together with the concrete that they're running on,
Mhm.
I don't think it's a good thing. So what you need to do is make it softer. Go and have a walk. Go and enjoy walking. First of all, if you're not used to walking, go out in the park and go and watch the birds and have a walk about, look at the lake and things like that.
Yeah. Just amber along. Amber along.
Amble along until you get used to it, and then you can, move up to power walking gradually if you want to.
And with power walking, you're actually using more muscle fibers than you are when you're running, because with running you will eventually start to use momentum,
Mm-hmm.
and then your body's just moving through the motion so long as you keep your legs going. But with walking, it's more purposeful, and you end up using more muscles as a result of that.
Yeah. Just one thing about running is I always used to have people saying to me, "I hate running." I went, "So did I when I started." I said, "But there is nothing. I'll tell you now. There is nothing better than when you're fit and you're running." Because you don't think about the running, you're thinking about everything else because you're sailing through it. Anyway, we're not here to talk about running. We're here to talk about what really makes you fat. So anyway, so the normal way of looking at things, although the idea is good about reducing the calories and going for exercise, these are two very small parts of everything.
Mhm.
And it is conventional thinking. That's been around 40 years, that has. So 40 years only takes us back to 1980, by the way. When I think of 40 years, I think, oh, that takes us well back. But it doesn't.
Yeah, 1940.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about here? Because everything's on the rise. Obesity's on the rise. All these diseases of humanity are on the rise, like type 2 diabetes,
Mhm.
heart problems, obviously raised blood pressure and everything. So why do you think that is?
Is there a rhetorical question for
No,
the
why do
audience
you
or for
think it
me?
is really? I mean, there are a million. I think there's a million answers to it, but the ones that stand out are the ones I'm looking for. We talk about these all the time about processed food.
Mhm.
And the quality of the food is going down.
Mhm.
And
It's a whole hodgepodge or a potpourri of reasons, really. It's
absolutely,
yeah, it's all to do with, you mentioned it just now, the lifestyle habits and the external influences that are causing these things to happen to us. And the quality of everything around us is reducing, except for certain things like medications and stuff like that. Those are improving in some cases. In many cases, they're not. And this is what happens with people is they start to develop the issues because they're putting on weight, so they start to take some form of medication, and then the medication adds to that, and then they end up getting fatter as a result of that. And then it snowballs out of proportion. And before a person's in their head is that's it. I'm never going to be thin again, and they just consign themselves to the fact that they think that they're just going to be fat for the rest of their lives. So yeah, look, there's so much at play here because everything is stacked against you, right? It's becoming more and more difficult to get out and exercise.
yeah,
Okay. The quality of the food that you're buying is depleted on a annual basis. The quality of food is just continuously being depleted. The quality, that is, and then the accessibility of cheap garbage that we're able to put into our mouths is on the increase.
Really.
I mean, just look at how many fast food places are anywhere and everywhere at any given time. I don't know what it's like in the UK now, but it's certainly not like that here. But like in Dubai, for example, and Dubai has it may still have, I'm not 100% sure, but it had the second highest obesity rate in the world per capita. All right.
Mm-hmm.
With the Emiratis, the local Emirati people. Now you can get KFC, McDonald's, Burger King delivered to your home 24 hours a day. Delivered to your front door 24 hours a day. And so everything is stacked up against us. Unless we ask the right questions and we look for the answers that are going to serve us.
Yeah. I think just to be purely honest here, I had a McDonald's at the weekend.
Yeah.
But that's once in 3-4 months.
Okay.
So it means nothing. Okay. However, if you'd eat them every day, might be a little bit different. But some people have got a problem with their genetics. Some people have got a problem with their environment.
Mm-hmm.
You can use that in two ways: the environment, the people you're around, or the air you breathe in. And behavioural reasons, I would suggest, probably are the biggest one. All right, not the genetics, but the behaviour.
Behaviours, yeah.
We've all
Because
been
you can't blame
there.
the
We've all done it.
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's just how many days you do it. And then you're faced with the fact you have people who are unable to lose weight. Okay, which are few, but most of them are unwilling to heal themselves.
Yeah.
If I work with anyone, they have got to be willing to heal themselves with my help. Okay, and they've got to be prepared to look at absolutely every aspect of their life, including sleeping, hydration, everything, exercise, going to the loo, what they eat, what they drink, all the other bits they do, their behaviours, and that's how honest you've got to be if you want to get to the right answers.
This is what I believe is one of the key factors that really makes us fat. Is this thing here? That's that space between our two ears.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, that's what I said about thinking thin.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought thin. Now, the highest weight I've ever been is about 15 stone. Right, I must be about 12 at the moment. 12? No, more than that. Must be more than 12 stone. Must be about 13, I would think. But because I feel fit, I feel slim and thin. I don't even bother about the weight. It doesn't matter. I went when I was at one of my fittest. I went along to the doctor. And he said, "You're overweight," and I went, "Really?"
I've been told that as well before. When I was like,
yeah, they do this. What they call it, the
BMI.
BMI. That's it. Yeah. And I went, "You're having a laugh, aren't you, mate?"
The BMI is so outdated, and people unfortunately still use it.
Yeah, but they still use it.
Yeah, doctors, dietitians, nutritionists, personal trainers, they still use a BMI.
I would say, how do you feel? What do you look like? Have you got any aches and pains?
How do your clothes feel on you? When you put your clothes on, how do they feel?
Do you feel good when you go out, forgetting how you look your face-wise? Because very few people are like their face today. They think, ooh. But yeah, how do you feel? What do you look like? What has someone said? Oh, you look good. All these are factors that we don't take into account. And it's important. I know someone who sees themselves much different than what they really are.
Oh yeah, there's many people like that.
I can't think what they call it, but
well, you have like, for example, you have anorexia, which is where people think that they're fat, but they're actually not. And then you've got the opposite of that, which is what's the term for that? Even some bodybuilders have that as well. Bodybuilders have the same. So they think
that D, I think
they think they're much what's
Is it
dysmorphia?
dystopian?
Dysmorphia or
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the things I haven't studied, so
not dystopia,
yeah,
not dystopia.
Well, I
That's
ain't
a
got a clue. I
society
don't
thing.
know. I ain't got a clue. I don't know.
But I think it's dysmorphia.
You
So
can't know every
yeah,
word of the alphabet.
no, in the
You've
dictionary.
got to get to it gradually.
I hope you
That's,
know every letter of the alphabet, but no. Yeah,
oh,
so
I
this
know
is,
them. I can't do
and
them backwards, yeah? But yeah, I mean, look, the way we think has been around since the Second World War. It's as simple as that. And we have to move on from that.
Mhm.
We have to make better quality decisions, even as clinicians. We have to make better quality decisions, and that goes with the person that you're trying to help as well.
Well,
They've
look,
got they've got to want it deep down inside them.
you say that you've been thinking like that since the Second World War, and
Not
yeah,
me, because I wasn't alive.
no, no, but as a society, you have, in the UK especially, as a society, you've been thinking a certain way. Same as the Germans, they've been thinking a certain way ever since they came out of the war. The Americans, although they weren't impacted that much by the war, there was certain factors from a societal perspective that impacted them, and then they went straight from the Second World War into the Korean War, from the Korean War into the Vietnam War, and now they're in a war that's been going on. I know this is a bit of a sidetrack, but this is what influences a society's thinking. There's in the Afghan war now in the Middle East with the Americans involved. They've even have cases where a son of a father that was in Afghanistan is
Mm-hmm.
now in Afghanistan. So it shows how long they've been at war there, if you can call it a war.
Mm-hmm.
And this impacts the way a whole society will think. Now, what happened after the Second World War with the UK was very tragic, because there was a lot of, I just saw it from my grandmother's perspective in South Africa.
Yeah.
We had a very similar impact from the war with us, where there was a lot that we couldn't have. We had to really tighten the strings a little bit, and really and the purse strings, and really safeguard ourselves. And my grandmother used to stack up her cupboards full of canned foods just in case. Just in case.
Just in
And
case. There's
yeah,
people do that now, though.
I'm
There's modern people do that now.
I'm pretty sure there is, and this is
Yeah.
what I'm leading to. And this perpetuates, that way of thinking perpetuates itself from generation to generation, until you decide to make a change, until people decide that there is an alternative. You don't have to hoard everything in order to safeguard yourself just in case. And it's the same applies to the way people have been generating incomes for the last 50, 60 years. People still think that a job is a safe way to make money, a safe way to
Not
secure
anymore.
your
Not
livelihood
anymore.
for your future. But it's not, and that's been the case for more than 20 years. But people still think it is. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people still think that having a job is a safe and secure way to safeguard your future.
Having skills is probably the most secure way. Having skills that you can, so that if you do get sacked, you can just go, well, actually, I work for myself, or go to another company because I've got all these skills. And so,
and the same applies to our health, and us being fat or skinny. It's a skill set. Number one, we can learn the skills to lose fat, not weight, but to lose fat, or we can choose not to lose those skills, or use those skills, or learn those skills. But also, it's a mindset thing. People have carried that psychology over, that mass psychology from the war, where you ate whatever you could when you could, because you never knew when you were going to be getting food again.
it was funny, you saying that, because I was born just less than 10 years after the Second World War. Unbelievable. But
it's crazy, I know.
Not the way I think, the way I feel like I'm, newborn.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, so, and I remember my mum, they were always talking about Germany and all that.
Oh, yeah.
And we always ate well, I've got to say. well done to my working class parents, and we were fed well, but I was actually taught to eat every scrap, right, not leave anything.
You're not allowed to leave.
Unless I got force-fed liver, then I don't.
You're not allowed to leave the
well.
table until your food's finished.
Yeah. So, so I'm still the same now. I still hate wasting food. So that comes from when I was a child.
Yeah.
I don't see what's the point in wasting money on food if you're going to throw it away. Anyway. But I think for now, for people these days, 2021, we all need to rethink about fat, right? And the way we approach it, the way we think about it, and the way we deal with it. So, and I wrote down a couple of things here, and it was just like towards the end. My question was, how much do you want it? As if someone comes to me and says they want to lose weight, and how much do you want it? How much do you desire it? Okay, because I'm not prepared to work with anyone unless they're prepared to do whatever takes to over a long period of time. It could be a short period of time, but it could be long, depending on who they are and what type of position they're in. And I only work with committed people. I'm not interested in working with anyone else. And this has got nothing to do with money. It's got to do with desire. It's got to do with what the people want. So we are unique. We need to rethink the way we do things, and we need to look at the person and say, who is that person? Who is that individual? Because that's what we are, individuals. And we must have a synergistic approach to everything. It's so important, because you've got to look at the whole person. Do we look at things like detoxification? Absolutely.
Oh, that's a big word, detoxification.
I know. I only write it as detox, but when people say they're going in detox, it's normally for drugs, so I didn't want to say that. But
you can just say detox your system. But
you say that could be an added problem.
What could be an added problem?
Whether they're legal or illegal drugs, that could have a tremendous effect on what's happening.
Oh yes.
We've got to look at quality. We mentioned it before. Quality of food, not so much quantity. Quantity doesn't do it for me. Quality does.
Well, this is a key point here, and I'm sure most people that will be watching this will be able to identify is that let's say, for example, McDonald's. Now, if you go to a traditional burger house, like a family-owned burger place, okay, where you get a bun that's like this size, with a burger patty inside that's about that big, lettuce, tomato, all the relishes and everything like that. You eat one of those, you are done. But if you go to McDonald's, you can easily have two whatever they are. I don't know, I think Burger King's a Whopper, right? Because of the lack of quality. The calories are so empty that within an hour you're feeling hungry again.
Yeah.
So there in itself is,
That's why I keep it to one every 3 months. Now, there is a difference, because when I was in the USA, I stayed most of the time in California, and they've got a burger chain called In-N-Out Burgers.
Okay.
And these are to die for. When you go to McDonald's, there's a queue. When you go to In-N-Out Burgers, there's a football crowd waiting. That's the difference. But I don't know how many stores there are and things like that. But I'll tell you what, I'd queue up all day for it. Seriously, it's just better quality and everything. But anyway, so there's lots of things for us to think about if we're thinking about working with someone. And one of the things is you have several systems in your body, all right? And they've all got to be working correctly and efficiently. So we strip it back to the basics and start working on different areas, such as the digestive system. That's the first one that you have to sort out. Okay. And that includes from here right, to you excreting stuff out. you know, and you've got to get it right as much
Mhm.
as possible. You know, do we get it 100% right? No, I don't think we do. But at least get it into the higher percentages of getting things right, you know, and you'll know if it's right. I don't need to say anything to you because, you know, whether you've got gas, whether you've got bloating, whether you're, you know, the quality of what you get rid of, you know, you know. All right. So that's what I work on first. Second thing I work on is the immune system. All right. The immune system is there to protect you. You know, if you think about what's going on for the last year, this is the thing, right, that makes the difference. I have no problems with that.
Oh yes, the immune
You
system.
get hit with bacteria, fungi, viruses, toxins, and your body is a brilliant bit of kit that can deal with most things. But the worse state you're in, the less overload, or sorry, the more chance of overload of crap. And that's when you go down. All right. So the immune system is very, very important.
And
So
then,
we work on that.
then your endocrine system is impacted because of
I
that.
ain't got to that one yet. But yeah, I mean, you're right. You know, jump onto that. I mean, that deals with your growth, your development, your mood, everything.
It's your messenger system.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes hand in hand with your neuro system.
Yep. Your neurological system.
Because then you talk about mental clarity, learning, memory, and all that. And all these things work in conjunction with each other. It's a bit like, as I say, having I think I mentioned before, the armed forces. There's all different branches of the armed forces.
Yeah, you have, yeah.
Even the wages department, you need them all.
Yeah, because if you don't pay your soldiers, they're not going to fight.
Yeah, that's right. They're not happy bunnies. They don't get money as well.
That's what almost happened to Alexander the Great, right?
Yeah,
he couldn't afford to pay his soldiers at one stage. I think it was they were ready to abandon him until he promised them the riches upon arriving in Rome. So yeah, I mean that's.
So that they were revolting before they start, and then they end up revolting.
Yeah.
So, but then you've got the other things as well. People, we think about this quite a bit, and that's the cardio side. You know, the blood flow in the heart. But we also got urinary as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's another waste system, isn't it? And you filter blood and everything like that. So, but all these things need to work together. And the one I don't mention, probably because I'm not a woman, is the reproductive system.
Okay. Well, we do have reproductive.
Yeah, I know, but it's I get it. But I'm talking about, you know, the baby side of it, and but all these systems have to work together, and they all rely on each other. Now, what happens if you don't work on these things? Is there's a knock-on effect. There's a domino effect, a ripple effect of things that can go wrong. And they all start, you know, if you don't get your cells right, okay, which covers all of this, a lot of it's not going to work properly. So you have to go down to the cellular level and get that working correctly. Now, thankfully, for 99% of people, they don't have to think about this. Okay, that would be my job. So, but you take one thing at a time. And that's why the antecedents, as it were, the history, is one of the most important things, because you need to know everything about that person. Hopefully, they'll tell you everything.
Most won't.
Well, you know, again, you won't get the best results then. You need to know everything. It's a private conversation, but you need to spill the beans.
Most won't also because they don't necessarily know the truth. They don't know everything about what's going on in their bodies as well.
No, but they know their history. They know whether they take illegal drugs or prescription drugs, or if they drink a bit too much alcohol, all those types of things. You need to know all of that, everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right, for you to do the best for them. You know, so I mean, people ask you, how long will it take? Well, I say, how long's a piece of string? You know, it could take a month, it could take 3 months, a year.
How long did it take you to put on that fat in the first place?
Precisely, you don't know.
Yeah,
because you did one little bite at a time.
Yeah, so you can't gauge how long it's going to take.
Right.
It's up to you, the individual. It's up to you, the nutritionist or the trainer, whoever's dealing with the individual, and it's their mindset, it's their belief system. How high up the scale of beliefs is it for them to be healthy? because we're taught and conditioned to focus on making money, having families, all of that, and that is
Yes.
that is high up in our belief system.
Yeah.
Is are those factors of our lives, but the health sits way down over here. So one of the key things when I'm working with somebody that wants to really work with me on a full scale, I say to them, okay, you need to now take your belief, where on that scale of 1 to 5 does your health sit? And if your health sits anything below 3, then we have to focus on getting that belief up, so they can start to believe that they can lose that fat.
Yeah.
Because if they don't believe they can lose the fat, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, then it's not going to happen, right? You can change everything else, but at the end of the day, they're just going to keep tripping over themselves.
Well, this is the one thing about, you see all these things about the Cambridge diet and different diets. Do they work up to a point? Yeah, all work. They all work up to a point.
Yeah. So does the water diet.
But what I'm saying is, unless you take care of the underlying causes of everything, you'll just go back to the same place you were at, and you would have wasted your time and money.
100%, yeah.
And you need to go down to what you can't see.
Mhm.
And again, that's the type of thing that I sort of enjoy doing. So, will relaxing come into it? Absolutely. Will sleep come into it? Absolutely. Exercise, hydration. But one of the big things that people don't think about is stress. Stress can affect everything. So you would need for them to lose that stress gradually, for it to have the complete effect. And
Balance.
so the question was, what really makes you fat? It ain't as easy. You can't answer it you can't answer it.
It's not as simple as that.
It's not as simple as that.
Yeah.
So people can write what they like. They come up with all these canned answers, but the canned answer would be like a novel. And you have to go through things gradually and find out what's wrong, what's right, what's wrong, what needs changing. It could be you could be combining foods wrongly,
Incorrectly.
I mean, and that's another one. There was another one I was thinking of, but I can't think of it for the moment. So it goes on and on. Now, you would, if you came to me or someone else, you wouldn't know most of what was going on. Because I'd just be asking you serious questions, and then I'd work out what would be best for you, because it is individual. The plan wouldn't have to be individual. It's not. There's going to be a lot of similarities with other people.
Oh yes, of course.
But there are going to be things unique to you.
Yeah.
Oh no, the other one was getting tested for allergies as well.
Okay.
So that would be that would be a side issue, but it would be important as well. Maybe, I don't know. So because some people don't suffer very much.
Well, that's something that you could look. If you can see the symptoms on the individual face value, then you might want to get them to have an allergy test done. But often that's something that you may do down the line in 3 months' time, 4 months' time, 6 months' time. When you've not necessarily exhausted all your other options, but you've kind of, because as much as you want to get as much information from somebody in the beginning, as a nutritionist or as a trainer or as a wellness expert, very often it is going to be a matter of elimination. You start to eliminate certain factors and possibilities, or not possibilities, but you're eliminating certain potential negatively impactful contributions to a person's fat and their weight. So the first thing is the eating habits and all of these kind of things. But as you kind of get that into line, and you start, and that's looking smooth, they may still not lose the fat.
No, that's right.
Then you look at, okay, let's see if you have any allergies, and then you get them to have an allergy test, and then sometimes that just really stimulates a person. I've noticed the same thing with some people with alzinobiotic, because of what it does for the gut and the way it helps to cleanse the gut, where most of your allergies are going to stem from, that part of the body. When that happens, a lot of the time people just kind of change. Yeah, physiologically speaking, they just change, they shift, because that does help to clean the system out from the gut point of view, where a lot of these these bacteria are formulating, and they just spread throughout the body from there. And you know, people don't know unless they have the test done. And
Yeah.
then sometimes you can take the xenobiotic, and that literally does it for you. That helps to eliminate those bacteria and things from the system. And then the body's able to relax a little bit easier, and then it can lose that excess fat that's been stubbornly held onto. Because this is the other factor. This is the other factor, folks, is that, you know, when your immune system in your body is compromised because of your chronic inflammation in your body, you can do whatever you want to do. That fat is just you maybe the majority of that fat will budge, will move, will go. But there's going to be a factor involved where there's going to be a certain percentage of that fat that's just not going to go anywhere, because your body will need that fat, because you have chronic inflammation in your body to help it to survive. All right. And it holds onto that fat, and it holds onto water. Until you get rid of that, very often people just cannot lose that excess fat. So they have to get rid of that chronic inflammation first. And it's the same with allergies.
Inflammation, or it could be a blockage. I think one of the things that makes a big difference, which a lot of people don't realize, is, you know, you see people with malnutrition, but actually you could 100% eat all the right things and still be malnourished. And that's because something inside, you know, your small intestine isn't working properly. So these are other areas you've got to look at, you know.
I had a similar case like that. I did a test once before in Dubai where I was malnourished. I wasn't, you know, my energy was not good, and my strength was not good. My ability to function, focus wasn't good. So I went for a test, and I was eating healthy, clean foods generally. But the problem with my diet is that I was drinking water too soon after my food. So I wasn't drinking with my food, okay, which is even worse. But after the eating, I would be thirsty, and I'd drink so much that I'd literally flush the enzymes out of my system. So that compromised my immune system, and it compromised my health in general, because I was depleted of nutrients.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, this is another factor, which is not something that people are educated on, but it is a clear case as to why some people could be fat as well. There's so many factors, but I think we've touched on the most important ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I say, I think we're about done now. We've been going 43 minutes, and so what really makes you fat? As I say, there's a whole cornucopia of things. It just came out of nowhere. That did.
That's maybe like the third time I've ever heard that word come from someone else's mouth.
I've never said it before. I just came out of nowhere. But so if you've got any questions that you need to ask us, do it on this Facebook Live. There'll be, you know, you can comment on Facebook, and we'll come back to you and speak to you about it. And if you found this useful, please share it. You can love it, like it, comment, whatever. Okay.
Not like it. Even if you don't like it, comment on that as well.
We're quite happy either way. So with that, we're going to leave you to. Is there anything you want to finish up by saying at all?
No, thank you, sir. I'm done.
Okay, so am I. All right. Have a fantastic rest of the week, everyone, and stay safe, stay well, and stay healthy. Speak to you soon.
Bye-bye now. See you
next
week.